5 of the I formation here in the man room. I'm Jeff Gibbons.
I'm John Moist.
And just want to say we're back now. And the first thing I want to mention is a shout out and a welcome back to all the NFL referees.
Absolutely.
Yeah, good to see them back on the field. And I'm sure that was the sentiment too. Who knew, right? You'd actually see referees come out in the Thursday night game to a standing ovation. Mm-hmm. So like hero to goat in 30 seconds, right? But it was their moment of fame.
A few missed calls, but nothing compared to the replacement referees that we had to put up with.
No, when the chips are down, they're getting the calls right, and you know even with review and stuff like that, a couple let go, but you know what? That's their thing. I mean they're paid well enough now to take that on the chin. Yeah. There were some great games this week, though, and we did really, really well this week with our picks. As a matter of fact, we were at the top of the stack when we compared to the professionals that were out there. And very, very proud of one of our picks, which we're going to talk about.
The Bears!
Bears! But you know what? We were there. We were behind them all that time. Just want to shout out to the Bears for their game. But let's start with San Francisco going in to Jets country.
Oh my God, did they ever dismantle the New York Jets this week? I believe you called last week that they were going to
expose them for who they were.
145 total yards for New York Jets this week.
There were 6 players in the National Football League this week, outside of quarterbacks, that had more all-purpose yards than the entire New York Jets team. Who thought that Brian Hartline would be at the top of that list, though? That was pretty impressive, but... yeah, Jets they're either hot or they're cold, and I think a lot of stuff going on there. They've also lost Santonio Holmes this week. Reading in the paper just today that it looks like that may be a season-ending injury. Darrell Rivas is gone, and on the other side, even their other receiver, the rookie, Stephen Hill. A team in disarray, and people are screaming for Tebow now on the East Coast, but I don't think anyone wants to start that kind of phenomena. I think Rex Ryan is committed to Sanchez for now. Yeah. I'm not convinced he's the man for the job, but certainly I'm not convinced that Tim Tebow is the savior either. No. Pardon the pun. Walking in, I think, in more of a role as a punt return guy or on the kicking team and looking at Wildcat. But still, that's not something that the league is taking seriously at this point, and the Jets are in real trouble. We also had... the close game in Philadelphia this week, Giants and
didn't see that coming.
No, and surprised that the Giants were beaten here.
They were outplayed too.
Yeah, but still, you know what? You've got 2 teams here that are capable of a lot more. I mean, a total of 36 points between 2 teams here, and I think that with respect to Philadelphia, they're the first 3-win team in the NFL this year. They've won all 3 of those games by 2 points or less. So that gives you an indication of how close. I mean, the squeaker in week 1, passes at the last minute, those kinds of things. I mean, good teams find ways to win like that. But as the season wears off, or wears on, I should say, injuries, a lot of things are going to play a piece in that. And I think that Philadelphia is going to really have to shore that up. Let's talk about the other game, because we're very, very proud of. Who was that?
I believe it was
the Bears. And you even tweeted this stuff out before the game Monday night. We tweeted and we hit the Facebook page and we said, you know what? Everyone's picking Dallas to win here, but we knew the difference, and even the lines in Vegas were huge on this, $2 and $3 to 1, But at the end of the day, we knew exactly what was going to happen. And we talked about the defense. We talked about points off of turnovers. And they put off a clinic in Dallas.
5 interceptions. That's what Tony Romo threw in this one. He also fumbled the ball once, I believe.
Yes. 2 pick sixes.
Yeah. 2 pick sixes, yes.
Huge, huge defensive effort here. As a matter of fact, Buffalo leads the league now in takeaways. I think it's Chicago. Mm-hmm. I'm moving ahead here now like a chess game. Chicago leads with 14 takeaways already this year, and this is just more things to come. I'm really looking forward now to the scenario. We got 2 3-1 teams in that division now. We've got Minnesota and we've got Chicago, and I'm looking forward to, I think, Chicago showing their domination over the Minnesota Vikings, and I think that they're going to take a hold of this division.
How about Green Bay?
I'm really not feeling it. I'm not feeling it right now. There's an awful lot of finger pointing going on in Green Bay. I don't see Aaron Rodgers stepping up the way he stepped up in previous
He had a good
times.
game against New Orleans.
And you know what? That was a squeaker as well. And we call that to be a blowout. I think that was the word we used.
We did say it was going to be a blowout. Rodgers threw 4 touchdown passes in that game. So
I still don't think he's capable of bringing that team along by himself. As much as he's an MVP performer, he's performed, in the playoffs. He's won a Super Bowl, and he's won an MVP. I think that it's key that whole team rally around him. And I mean, that defense, I think that it wasn't as effective as it could have been against the New Orleans Saints. It's not the vintage Green Bay Packer team that we called winning it all this year at the beginning in Week 1. I think some adjustments have to be made. But
I think he'll be fine.
I hope so. Stick around. We're going to actually get into our week's picks this week, and I think John had some sort of altered state this week because I think we're going to vary on a lot of picks. And he almost sounded like me this week. I'm kind of concerned about him. I'm going to go give him a checkup. But stick around, folks. We'll be right back. Hi, we're back in the man room now, and this is the picks for Week 5. Kind of looking forward to this because I'm trying to sort of catch up. I got one better than you this week, so I've got a little bit ways to go. We're creeping up very quickly on the panelists and some of the sport lines.
Here.
The limb is beyond. I mean, it must be good to have a little bit of room where you can stumble a little bit because I think that's what's going to happen.
I'm not going to stumble.
Okay. No, you're going to fall flat on your
I'm going to pick
face.
some big upsets and hit them.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Okay. Well, we're going to start. Well, let's go through the picks. Arizona at St. Louis.
I'm picking the Rams.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick the Rams to send Arizona to their first loss because the Rams are a great home team. 2-0 at home this year. Arizona, I don't think are as good as their 4-0 record. Great defense, but they've got no offense, as far as I'm concerned. And I think St. Louis is going to win this one by a field goal.
I think, and St. Louis, we've seen the games that they've played at home already this year. They have kept them close. They have got that 13th man in the field. It is a tough place to play in St. Louis, but I'm picking Arizona to win this close. Okay, Philadelphia in Pittsburgh.
I like the Steelers. Philadelphia had a great game against Giants, no doubt about it. Steelers are coming back. I'm not sure, is Palomalu playing? Have we heard?
I haven't heard yet, and it's early in the week again, so we're not sure about where that is.
But as well, I'm not sure about him. Either way, hopefully those two do come back, and because I'm picking the Steelers.
Me too.
Picking the Steelers because they need this game, and the Eagles and the Steelers usually play close games. I'm just going to go with the home team here.
I agree with you, though. Yeah. They're a character
team.
I
think Mendenhall's coming back, too.
Yeah, and I think, from a character perspective, Pittsburgh has what it takes, I think. Advantage Pittsburgh with the gut check. Yeah. Roethlisberger's played really well in the last couple of games, and I think that's going to continue. So
with the extra rest as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Baltimore's in Kansas City.
I'm going to pick the Kansas City Chiefs.
You know what? I'm afraid of this pick because I'm not picking the Kansas City Chiefs, and I think that one, you know what? Law of averages says eventually I'll get a Kansas City pick right. This is the first one I'm thinking.
Kansas City was just at home to San Diego, and San Diego handled them. Kansas City turned over the ball 5 times. I don't see that happening again. I think they're going to reel it in. Castle's under a lot of pressure. He needs to come up with a big game. And I don't think Jamal Charles is going to fumble the ball twice again. Now, Kansas City quietly is the #1 rushing offense in the NFL right now. Baltimore's not the run defense this year that they have been in the past, probably because Terrell Suggs is out and they're missing him. I think that the Chiefs can win this game, and I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to pick the big upset here. Kansas City.
I'm looking at the track record of the Kansas City Chiefs already this year. I'm seeing not being able to beat Buffalo and losing bad to Buffalo. I'm seeing a Baltimore defense that's on a high, who's already beaten the Patriots this year, and I think has done a really good cohesive job of keeping it. Joe Flacco is playing the football of his life. It looks like he's been given a little bit more leeway. Ray Rice is Ray Rice. I think they go in there, and I think they. I don't think they humble the Chiefs because they are an Arrowhead, but I think they win it by a touchdown.
Okay.
Cleveland at the Giants.
Oh, Cleveland. Cleveland. You go out before the season starts, and you get to you get Trent Richardson with the 3rd overall pick. This guy was 3rd in Heisman voting to Luck and RG3. And in the last 2 weeks, I think he's run the ball 26 times in total in 2 games. Where is the coaching here? I don't understand what the Browns are doing. I really don't. The offensive coordinator, I think, is Brad Childers. He wouldn't coordinate my kid's birthday party. It's a joke. I'm going to think that the Giants are going to dismantle Cleveland. They're going to pound them.
Yeah, it's becoming like a burger and fries sort of philosophy. And, pick it up in your fantasy leagues. Whoever's playing Cleveland's a great bet for your defense.
Give the ball to Trent Richardson 25 or 30 times a game, you got a shot. Mm-hmm. Other than that, forget it.
Okay. Miami is in Cincinnati.
I'm going to go with the Bengals.
Okay. I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins. And you know what? I am a Dolphins fan, but I also think with my head and not my heart. And the Dolphins actually acquired Jabbar Gaffney this week, who played last year with the Washington Redskins. He had a career year, 68 receptions, 940 yards plus receiving yards, and he matched his personal best for 5 touchdowns. He was cut in New England due to an injury earlier this year, so he was out on the market. I think that Miami has really improved now with the receiving core by adding Gaffney. He's an established receiver, something they were looking for in Chad Johnson and never got for more than 30 seconds. And I think that Brian Hartline, who's having a career year already, is leading the league in receiving yards. You've got Devon Bess. Now you've got Anthony Fasano at the tight end position. Hartline is slowly coming of age, and you got the running game. So I think that they can go into this with that defense. I think they can go in there and they can keep it close, and I think that Carpenter may be able to win one for them. It is a very close game, but I think Carpenter wins it with a field goal.
I like the way the Bengals are playing ball. I really do. They're starting to put it together. A.J. Green is definitely a force right now. Andy Dalton is playing, I think he's playing better than Tannehill is. And I just like Cincinnati. I'm not saying it's going to be a blowout. I think that Miami will be in this game. I just think I'm going to pick Cincinnati by 6 points.
The other thing that I wanted to mention here, because I did do a lot of homework on this one I flip-flopped 2 or 3 times. The other thing with the addition of Jabbar Gaffney is that both of the starting corners for the Bengals are injured. You've got Nate Clements right now with a calf injury. He was doubtful last week. Still waiting for the line on him this week. And again, remember, we're filming early. Leon Hall with a hamstring, and he didn't play either last week. Both listed as doubtful. So maybe Miami and Hartline can, who threw for over 400 yards last week, can exploit those 2 corners with that extra receiver.
So Tannehill had a good game.
Could be something interesting, but it's going to be a great game to watch. I think it'll be a game. Hopefully, the Patriots aren't on at the same slot. Okay, we've got Atlanta in Washington. I'm sorry. Let's deal with Green Bay first. Green Bay's in Indianapolis.
Aaron Rodgers and the Packers are going to go into Indy. I think Indy's going to put some points on the board. Green Bay has been giving up a lot. Green Bay's offensive line has been a little shaky as well. So this may be a closer game than most people think. Normally you'd hear Green Bay, Indy, and you'd think Green Bay is going to blow them out. Indianapolis, I think Andrew Luck can keep them close. And I like Green Bay by a touchdown.
Yeah, I like that too, especially after the way they played against New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Atlanta is in Washington.
I like the Falcons. They're just flat out better team.
I fought with this one. I flip-flopped twice. I'm gone back to Atlanta. I think that RG3 is RG3. And I keep saying this. He is getting better. He's just for a quarterback of his length of experience in the NFL. As a rookie, just an incredible stand-up guy. His whole team is behind his whole philosophy. And I think even having everybody in that sort of harmonious sync can win you a football game. But I mean, you're right. Matt Ryan, Roddy White, Michael Turner on the ground. I say Falcons by 7 points.
I'm going to say Falcons by 24. Next.
Well, I remember that one, folks. Okay. A team from Chicago is walking into Jacksonville this week. And I think the answer is...
The Bears.
Yeah, enough said. Just can't compete, I don't think. Jacksonville can't compete with that team.
No, I don't think that they're going to... stranger things have happened.
That's right. Not like covering all our bases, right?
Yeah, really.
Seattle's in Carolina.
I like Carolina to come up with the win this week.
I think Carolina's the weakest 3-1 team in the NFL right now.
1-3, yeah. But,
Or 1-3, sorry.
I don't. I think they're one of the strongest 1-3 teams. I think, they've got good coaching. They've got a lot of balance. They're running about 50% running plays, 50% passing plays. Cam Newton, you got to give up them little dances and the Superman thing. Cam is getting a little bit cheesy, but I know you're listening to me, so you'll hear what I'm saying.
That's right.
So
We'll wait for your reply on Twitter.
Yeah, that's right. So no, I think Carolina is going to show up this week, and I think Carolina is not only going to beat Seattle, I think they're going to pound them.
Okay. We're totally diametrically opposed on this pick. Carolina's a good team at home. They always play well at home. But I'm sorry, this is the Seattle core, defensive core, that sacked Aaron Rodgers 8 times in one half of football. And I'm sorry, I can't overlook that. Talked about that last week when Aaron Rodgers was crowing about the footballs, when he was crowing about the calls in the end zone. I think this team has grown. That receiving core of Golden Tate and Sidney Rice is causing all kinds of grief and anxiety for corners and the coverage issue. I think Seattle wins this game in Carolina. I don't think it's going to be a pound. I think it's going to be within 10 points, but I think they win. Denver is in New England.
Got to root against my Broncos. Not root against my Broncos. I have to pick against my Broncos this week. Brady came out. I mean, they put 52 points on the board. They had 5 touchdowns in under 13 minutes. I don't know what happened with Buffalo, but New England just tore them apart. And I don't know if the Broncos can keep up offensively. If this was in Denver, maybe I would give them a nod, but it's not. It's in New England, and
I also want
to say the Pats, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I also want to shout out to Tom Brady this week for being a true sportsman. Thought that was incredible. And Bill Belichick for kicking a field goal within 2 minutes when you have 49 points on the board. Again, it's the Patriots' way.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, New England wins. Buffalo in San Francisco.
Buffalo in San Francisco.
Yeah. It's like any team in the Browns. Sadly, not going to happen.
No, it's a tough one. Next.
Yeah, all right. Tennessee in Minnesota.
Oh, I like the Vikings there.
I like the Vikings too, but I'm scared of this pick. I think that Chris Johnson, I think Chris Johnson can make a difference against that.
Hasselbeck's going for Tennessee.
Yeah, but you know what? That means the run is so much more important to establish.
Minnesota special teams this past week came up with a punt return for a touchdown and an interception return for a touchdown. A 105-yard. It wasn't an interception, was it? It was a kickoff return.
Kickoff return. Yeah. Harvin did that that set the tone. It was the difference. Yeah. 105 yards out of the end zone.
Also, a shout out to Chad Greenway on defense, who's just one of the biggest defensive players in the game. Linebacker Chad Greenway had 11 tackles this week. He has 44 tackles on the year, and he came up big the week before when they beat the Niners. He had 13 tackles in that game. And Greenway is just a difference maker on defense for sure.
So we're both in Minnesota, I think, this week. They go to 4-1. Yeah. San Diego at New Orleans.
I like the Saints here.
I think the Saints put their first win on the board this week as well. I think Drew Brees, he's been playing well. He's getting the ball across. I know Colston had a decent week for him this week. His receivers are there. I think he's got to break this funk, and I think San Diego on the road. There's a lot riding on this game. They really need to snap, and I think New Orleans
traveling traveling for the second straight week, and I think the Saints played the Packers very well. Actually, could have won that game. I was very surprised, and I think the Saints are going to win.
They're not an 0-4 team. No. And finally, we got Houston, the Monday nighter, at the Jets. I almost want to laugh again. I'm sorry. How can you seriously look at a team that people are, the entire East Coast is screaming now for Tim Tebow. The only person I think that doesn't buy into that philosophy is Rex Ryan, or he doesn't at this point. But then again, we all know Rex is capable of changing his mind. This team had 143 yards in total all-purpose yards last week on offense. And you're not going to win games like that. you're playing that Houston defense, which is incredible.
Houston defense, I think I took a note here on what they did again this week. 2 interception returns for touchdowns, 4 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. These are the lines you're seeing from this defense almost every week. Right now, the Houston Texans are at the top of my power rankings, the #1 team in the NFL. And stranger things have happened once again. They are going into New York, hostile environment, but I don't think the Jets have enough to beat Houston here. I think that the Texans are going to win this one handily. 10 points.
Yeah, Arian Foster runs for 713 yards.
7. That's all.
Yeah, he's going to take it easy on him.
What do you mean he's going?
Well, I mean, after that 34-0 butt kicking.
713 yards. What is he going to? Is he going to blow out a kneecap or something after 300? Or
he's going to do an MJD and kneel at the 1 yard line. Okay. But anyway, that's not even going to be close. It's a, you know what? Rent the Notebook and save your Monday night. All right, stick around. We're going to talk about the performers of last week, and we're going to give you our picks for Player of the Week and Team of the Week. Check out the I-Formation on Facebook.
Hey, welcome back to the Man Room, and now we're here with our player picks from last week and our picks of the week for the upcoming week. And who'd you like last week for your player of the week, Jeff?
It was hard not to pick Brian Hartline from the Miami Dolphins. Like I said already in the broadcast, he's actually not a quarterback. He didn't throw for 400 yards, so I want to clarify. I do know the difference. He is a receiver, but he did have 253 yards in the air this week, and that is a record in Miami. Who did you like this week?
This past week, I like defensive player Chad Greenway from the Minnesota Vikings. This guy shows up every week. He's one of the unsung heroes in the NFL. He's got 44 tackles this season, and he is a big reason why Minnesota is where they are. And when you watch the Vikings, pay attention to this guy. He's the real deal. He's a difference maker.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think we both agree this week on the team of the week from last week.
San Francisco 49ers. Got to pick them.
You just mentioned a team like that, yeah. When you blank a team in the National Football League, a lot of things got to go your way, and they were just. You've said several times about Alex Smith as well, not making mistakes. Well, obviously that defensive line didn't make any mistakes this week. They shut that team down. No consistency, and it just proves again why San Francisco has one of the best defenses, if not the best, in the National Football League. Great. So that's last week. This week, my player of the week. Adrian Peterson with the Minnesota Vikings. I'm looking for him to have an incredible breakout week this week. Peterson's capable of one of those weeks where he has a couple of 100 yards on the ground, 2 or 3 touchdowns. I'm thinking this is the week. So keep an eye for Peterson. Who do you like this week?
I like Frank Gore from the San Francisco 49ers going up against a Buffalo team that gave up over 100 yards to two different running backs in New England. And they're just a defense is full of holes.
They're a mess.
And I think Frank Gore is going to exploit that, and I think he's going to have a huge game for San Francisco this week.
Okay. And I like team of the week this week. I like the Miami Dolphins. And again, I'm not one for throwing the Dolphins out there every week because I'm a Dolphins fan. I'm pretty much of a realist. But I'm saying the changes, the acquisition of Javar Gaffney, Nane being dropped, actually, he didn't pan out in Miami. He didn't have a catch in the first 3 weeks, and then he finally caught a ball in week 4, ran 10 yards with it and dropped it. So, he's no longer part of the picture. But I think that, coupled with the defense and those 2 corners being, the 2 starting corners being out in Cincinnati, I think they go in there and they give Cincinnati a fright. And who do you like this week?
My team of the week for the upcoming week is the Carolina Panthers. I think that it's about time that they won one. I think that they're one of the best 1-3 teams in the NFL right now, and I think that Cam Newton is going to have a big game in this one. I think that they're going to go. They're going to be at home to Seattle. Carolina's stronger team at home. Seattle not so much on the road. And I think Carolina has a good balance and great coaching. Good balance on 50% of their plays are on the ground, the other 50 in the air. They're a balanced offense. They established the run. I think that Carolina is going to beat Seattle this week. They're my pick of the week.
Awesome. So that's it. There we are out again, and we're hoping to start climbing the list, moving to the top, because this is where now we got the consistency of the refereeing. The teams are making the decisions. It's good to have everybody back and a little bit more normalcy in the league. Just want to point out to you, we are on Facebook, so like us on Facebook and look for us as the I Formation, all one word. So that's it. Come back next week, see how we did. I'm guaranteeing you that we're going to be back next week telling you what happened in the league and what was interesting. So until then, it's good night for me.
Have fun.